Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be featuring the Riga, the Tier 9 upcoming Tech 3 Soviet cruiser. First of all, thank you guys for taking part in the Mines giveaway. I have posted the winner on Twitter and the winner has already been credited with the prize because it was out of my own pocket, so I just sent you the prize right away. Moving on, the Riga. It's a ship that has gone through significant nerfs through the times. In fact, a month ago, they changed the surveillance radar from 20 seconds to 10 seconds. They increased the detectability from 14 to 14.2. They nerfed the shell velocity from 985, which was blisteringly fast, to 965. And they nerfed the AP shell damage from 6,250 to 6.2k. This was just the first of many nerfs. Now this ship in its very first iteration was just honestly ridiculously broken. The AP penetration on the guns was closer to Alaska's than any other cruiser. But this was just the first of nerfs. About a month ago, in the follow-up after this one, they changed the angle for ricochets from 55 to 50 degrees. Surveillance radar got a buff from 10 to 15 seconds, but the detectability range was nerfed from 14.2 this time to 14.7. So that thing has gotten progressively nerfed from its initial basically ridiculously stealthy state. The reason I'm listing all these nerfs is because you've probably seen a fair bit of commentaries made by or vids made about this ship in the recent times, and I haven't made one yet because I've basically been waiting for when Wargaming is starting to decide that this ship might be close to final and it's worth making a vid about it instead of having them change it on its head right after. I thought that we were getting closer here, but nope. 27 days ago, HE and AP shells were changed. The shell trajectory became more arched, the AP shell penetration was reduced even further, and the AP shell maximum damage was reduced from 6.2k to 5,950. This wasn't the end of it though, because there was yet another nerf on the 24th. The HE and AP shell ballistics were changed even further. Shells lose speed faster when fired at long distances, and the AP shell armor penetration was reduced again even further. And now the very latest patch, actually that was the latest patch. Before that they also reduced the AP shell damage from 5,950 to 5,750. So basically the last 5 patch notes regarding the test ships have all involved 5 nerfs for the Riga. And this recent one basically gave the shells more air drag and reduced the AP pen even further. Now the AP pen is roughly among the lines of Moskvas and Henrys. Both of which are tier 10 heavy cruisers, which are honestly quite known for having excellent AP performance. So the Riga has roughly the same AP penetration as those two, which for a tier 9 cruiser is obviously not a bad thing. It is very impressive indeed. And I'm starting to think that the ship might be pretty close to final now, so I'm gonna do a full go through of basically what this ship is made of. It's a bit of a mini-Moskva in the sense that the armor, it does have a 25mm nose, but it's only the upper nose. It has a significant icebreaker that is 40mm and protects the ship from being citadeled up close because, well, it blocks overmatch. The deck armor is 35 and the upper belt is also 35. Very useful against most HE that pens 32mm and against pretty much all the AP in the game, although it's worth noting that Shikishima, that upcoming 510mm meme, is actually capable of overmatching 35mm. So that would be the only AP shell in the game capable of overmatching Riga's upper belt and deck. Obviously it will still be vulnerable to ships that can pen more than this, but honestly they are quite few, although when you mix in IFHE, ships like 180mm with IFHE can in fact pen this 35mm plating quite easily. Overall though, the ship is very tanky. The belt armor is 140 and it's layered armor followed by roughly 40 to 90mm of plating behind it. It does have a citadel that extends far above the waterline, much like Moskva again. If you're caught full broadside and they have enough pen to punch into your citadel, you will probably be citadeled in this thing. It is that sizable. It does have a nice chunk of health though, 50.5, and it actually has some torpedoed protection as well at 19%. Concealment wise, this is where it actually stands out a fair bit, because Moskva of course is famous for having such a poor concealment, but Riga, even after all these concealment nerfs that I went through, well, you can see the concealment, the air detectability is 6.7 and the surface detectability is 11.6. Which is actually quite impressive, because you got to remember that it still has that 12 km radar, which means that this ship is capable of stealth radaring. Now it's a short duration, it's only an 18-second radar, provided you're running the radar module like I am, but it's still the ability to stealth radar, which means catch DDs and of course cruisers off guard if they're pushing into spotting range, because as soon as you get spotted you can radar them, which limits their counterplay. Something I've never been a big fan of, and I thought Wargaming were moving away from this, but now they're kind of reintroducing it again with these cruisers. And it does have the standard Hydro, 5 km range, 3.5. You could run defensive AA, but that consumable is very questionable these days. AA wise, it has no short range, but it has a fairly strong mid-range aura at 3.5 kilometers and a long-range aura of 6 km. The DPS is 335 and 118, and you only really throw up 5 flak with a 90% accuracy, so not really the biggest AA monster in the game. However, if of course carriers fly into the flak, then you do get some value out of it. Maneuverability wise is where the ship suffers the most. This is where you can tell that yes, this is in fact a Soviet heavy cruiser, because even though the speed is 35.2, which is quite impressive for a cruiser, this is with the speed flag, the rudder shift is 9.2, which is less impressive, but worst of all, the turning circle is 920. 920 is the same turning circle as the Azuma. Alaska, for example, has a turning circle of 850, and similarly, even ships like Rune have 780. Buffalo sits at what, 800. So the 920 turning circle of the Riga is of course very, very poor. But the upside is that, well, you can play very much like you see me play here, and that is angling a nose in and making use of this incredible armor plating. And with the stealth radar, if someone pushes up to spot you, you just instantly pop radar when you're detected between shells and you can catch ships off guard. The radar with the module allows you to roughly get off 2 full volleys, and then it runs out and they go dark. But with the fast shell velocity and the accuracy, you can generally do a fair bit of damage. Giving too much broadside to the Torpedoes here, and you can see that he instantly citadeled me, so I'm respecting him and giving him a bit more angle. I'm a bit worried here because I am crossfired. The reason I'm not giving him more angle is of course on G4 there are 2 ships, an Alaska and a Richelieu, that could potentially also punish my broadside. So we're just gonna reverse, tank, and allow our armor to do its work. He gets in another citadel, still not giving him enough broadside, but this does highlight the issue with the raised citadel. Unless you're giving a decent amount of angle, so you're auto-bouncing, there is absolutely the risk of being citadeled. And honestly, I like it. I think it's a balancing factor, just like with the Moskva. The Moskva is insanely tanky nose in, but if you're caught broadside, then you start eating a fair bit of damage. Tankiness wise, the ship is just incredible though. Just sit nose in, and the only part of your nose is a very small section, upper part of your nose, that can be overmatched. The rest is going to be bouncing the AP left, right and center. Combined with the great concealment means that it's quite easy to disengage and go dark whenever you feel like it. And of course you do have a very, very punchy AP. The HEDPM might be somewhat lacking because, well, we are ultimately talking about Soviet AP, which isn't perhaps the best. Although with the build I'm running, I do have an 18% fire chance on the guns, but with 13.2 second reload, it's probably still not going to be the best HE Firestarter or DPM monster. However, the AP, now at 5750, the value Wargaming has, it seems kind of settled on. and with this 965 meter per second shell velocity and a great pen and some improved angles, of course, the AP is very, very strong and very reliable, and something you tend to use most of the time. When they angle this much though, HE is usually better. Overall, I've been enjoying the Riga quite a bit. Earlier I would have said, like, if you asked me a month ago, I would say this thing is brokenly overpowered, but Wargaming has been basically nerfing the thing that makes it very, very broken, which is the incredible AP pen, and they've been nerfing the stupid concealment. I still don't think that this ship should be able to stealth radar. I think stealth radar is a poor addition to the game and not something that anyone needs. I don't like when ships don't have counterplay, especially DDs, which already get screwed in so many ways in this game right now, and being able to stealth radar them doesn't exactly add to the experience. It could rather be, let's say, give the ship a 12.4 km, 12.3 km concealment, enough for a DD that pays attention to get a warning, uh-oh, he's pushing in, or I'm pushing into him, I can start disengaging, instead of just going nose in, instantly radared and caught off guard and just completely blapped. That kind of gameplay doesn't really appeal to me, and I thought Wargaming was moving away from the stealth radar concept, so reintroducing it now seems very, very questionable. It's even worse when it's a cruiser that's trying to play aggressive and you go nose in and you get caught radared and the entire team is turning their guns for you. That is the worst case situation. The firing angles are quite good, but turret traverse is not the best. 32.8, and that is with a captain that is running expert marksman. And I am of course running the 9 million reload module because the base range of 18 kilometers is more than enough to be effective, but keep that in mind that getting the back turret, especially when you're switching side, getting the back turret into the battle can take a fair bit of time. Firing angle wise though, you will get an idea here. The firing angles are quite good, and it does allow you to quite easily make use of this excellent armor you have. Now keep in mind, even though this AP pen and shell velocity has been nerfed repeatedly, we're still talking Moskva/Henry levels of penetration, and something like a Sinop giving this much broadside at this range, well, the Riga has a very little issues dealing with this kind of plating, and I know that, so I go straight for the Citadel and absolutely delete him. On cruisers, you can basically Citadel them from, I would say, almost any distance without too many issues. You know, I mean, the Riga at 20 kilometers has over 200 millimeters of penetration, I think 230 or something, so you can Citadel cruisers from 20 km away easily, and I mean, yeah, that's if you're running the range mod. With the reload mod, you can Citadel basically any cruiser at any range, you can actually shoot at them. And with the improved pen angles, it is quite easy, provided dispersion goes where you want it to. Ultimately, Riga is much like much of this line. So far the Tallinn had seemed very strong, Riga is appearing very strong. We haven't seen the Petropavlovsk in a while, but that thing was just straight up overpowered. I'm not sure what they're doing with that ship, but the Riga is highly, highly recommended. There's a DD somewhere here, but once again, because of stealth radar, the ability stealth radar, I can just wait until I'm spotted. I'm just waiting. Oh, I got spotted, instantly radar, and there he is. That's the advantage of being able to stealth radar. You can instantly wait until you're spotted, and then you radar, and then you shoot, and if RNG really, really loves you in this Russian ship, the target you're shooting detonates from the first shot, and the game ends. 143k, perhaps not the most impressive damage. In fact, I'm absolutely confident you can get much higher damage games in this, but this was a good example of both the tankiness and the AP performance of this ship. 4 kills, 12 citadels, just steadily reversing away, keeping myself angled as much as I could, and when I gave too much broadside, even a Torpedoed could instantly citadel me, so it also highlighted the weakness of the broadside. 2.3k base XP, perhaps not the most impressive, but ultimately I killed basically anything that came my way. Detailed report wise, 1.2 million potential. Once again, you can absolutely get higher values than that. And a bit of HE shot, 60 shells, not that damage okayish, but it was mostly against DDs and angled ships. And the majority of the shell type is obviously going to be AP in this thing. Ultimately, Riga is shaping up to be a very strong ship, just like this entire Soviet cruiser line. In fact, I'm not really sure if I can think of any single stinker in the line so far. All the ships seem excellent or just very, very good. Remains to be seen if they're going to be changing any of this around, but so far both the Soviet heavy and light, well, light and light, the Soviets didn't exactly call it that, both of those lines are highly recommended to grind because they are very, very strong. Anyway, as always, thank you guys for watching, thank you for following. I do appreciate if you drop me a subscription on YouTube, because we are only 3.6k subs away from that 100k giveaway. So I am very much trying to reach that goal. Thank you for helping me, and I'll talk to you guys later.